Hi everyone, it's Sketcher Fashion Drawing Tutorials, and in this lesson we're going to render the third look from MAISON Margiela Spring 2018 Couture collection, and we'll have some PVC and some nice draping, really specific type of draping that would be cool for you to learn. So again, for these sketches I use just normal walking position, and if you have any troubles with drawing body, there is a tutorial dedicated to the body and this exact movement on Sketcher YouTube channel called Fashion Drawing 101 Body. So after drawing that, there is also one tutorial dedicated to head, also Fashion Drawing 101 Head, so where you can learn how to draw head in this way. So now I'm using SAKURA 01 fine line pen, and I'm outlining everything. It's up to you. If you want, you can outline, you can keep it in pencil if you want to have a softer look. So now I'm going to add some closing. If you make any mistakes with a fine line pen on the edges, you can always use a whitening gel pen and just fix it. So I start drawing directly here with my fine line pen. You can start with pencil if you are not that confident about doing that with pen. And yeah, we have like quite a straight top. It's in PVC, that's why I'm not adding that much of like wrinkles on the sides everywhere, because it's quite thick and has this structure. Like here we have some sort of waistband of the skirt, and here we start that draping. Looks like you know, like PVC pleating that was cut, and we see this cut. If you take a look at the reference image that I uploaded to Patreon, or you just check the MAISON Margiela Spring 2018 Couture collection, you can see this exact design, what I mean. Okay, so I'm using Cool Gray 4, and I'm coloring her hair. Her hair actually like have this sparkling cover, so for that, to show that, I need some dark background. I use dusky pink for the shadows on her face, nose bridge, cheekbones, nose, like lower part of the nose, and upper part of the ears, area below her chin, all the muscles and any kind of depressions on her body, usually along the contour. If you feel like you need some parts to be darker, you can add some extra shadows, like below your fringe, for example. And then next color is Almond, which is lighter, and I'm just coloring everything, including the shadows that we just made. So the very basic way is just using one marker, letting those shadows dry and then using the same color. This is the next step, when you use a bit darker marker for the shadows and use lighter one for the whole, like one base layer. Next I'm using purple pencil, and I'm really blending, I'm not pushing hard, and adding extra shadows. And also pencil gives this very artsy handmade effect because it's noisy, so it's really nice to add some touch of pencil. Even like for clothing, like for textures, at the end you can add a bit of pencil. Some super third level of rendering skin is when you mix 3 or even sometimes 4 colors, and you mix them like as we did on a palette, on some plastic surface or glass surface, and yeah. But if you like follow different F-Sketcher tutorials, you probably know that method too. Okay, so I want to give you a really dark, like smoky eyes, and also add some gray at the bottom, but not to make you look like you know, bruised. So I'm adding this glitter, so it's not like it is a glitter. That's how we show silver. We add some silver background and then add white ink gel pen. And then I added dots on black, and also now adding dots and lines on her hair, because her hair totally covered with some sort of silver glitter. That's why we needed this dark background, because if you have very light gray as a base, because you might think that like silver is light and silver glitter should be light, then when you add white ink gel pen, there won't be contrast and that won't be visible. So I added some black pencil in the middle. And so far I'm quite happy with the overall look. Adding some shadows with warm gray 3 under her fringe, under her nose, under her chin, and anywhere you feel that you want to add stronger shadows, you can add it. Warm gray 3 is quite soft, but be careful, don't overdo. I'm using CYAN PROMARKER. If you use different markers, just smudge the color, as you see it on the screen. So CYAN. And while it's still wet, I'm adding PRUSSIAN PROMARKER, which is this very vibrant blue. And I really try to work a bit faster, so I can really blend them. Now I'm working with CYAN again on the top of Prussian, and you can see that Prussian is spread around because it's still wet, it's not fixed in paper yet. So I added Cool Aqua, this lighter blue is Cool Aqua, now working with CYAN again on the sides. So now I have 3 types of blue, adding some Prussian, mostly on the sides, because usually we make the sides darker. So because of her movement, the tension point is right side shoulder, right? So we have these diagonal folds. And inside the folds we add shadows, for sure. Good. So we have very nice base. And there is, in the design, it looks like either it's a print or there is some lace below the blue PVC. So I'm drawing just some floral motif with my fine line pen, the same one, 01. And here it's more about variety, but keeping the same motif. So I keep leaves, some flowers, and then I repeat similar flowers, not like absolutely different things. But I'm trying to draw them, all of them, in a unique way. Also try to draw them in clusters. Certain elements are closer to each other, like islands, and then there is some distance between the other group of objects. So also try to connect one group with another, like with some branches, and some smaller circles, smaller elements between them. Okay, perfect. So now I'm using correction pen and adding super strong highlights, because it's PVC, it's basically like super shiny like material. So I'm adding them just next to those shadows because shadows are inside of the folds and highlights are on the top of the folds. So perfect. Now you can see that's super shiny. Now I'm using violet marker and a little bit of white ink gel pen just on the sides. Next I'm using mint green. Here we need just to mix several different markers because we have this kind of iridescent, I think it's something like that, yeah? The colors that are like petrol, like holographic effect of changing colors. So I added mint, now I'm adding Cool Aqua PROMARKER, which is like this fresh light blue. And while it's still wet, I'm adding Prussian PROMARKER. And trying to make these zigzags, and you see I'm not drawing them carefully, so you need some randomness. And in between as well, and also I'm going to add with INDIGO PROMARKER. Here we have some folds, some more of the shapes, even more wrinkled in some way, but with sharp angles. More. But you see I'm keeping some light islands between these strokes. Bit of violet as well. And some plum. Because we need this transition from different colors to show this iridescent material. Mostly just coloring almost everywhere. Sides I'm keeping them a bit more lit. Next I'm using black PROMARKER and I'm adding not exactly like sometimes zigzag, sometimes this triangular or similar shapes between. Like again, not really specific shapes. So I need just to show the shadows inside of those folds. And those shadows won't be perfect circles or squares. They will be random triangles or like connected triangles like shapes. So I'm drawing what I see. You can take a look at the reference image and interpret it in your own way. Interpret those shadows as you see them. So I'm adding just a little bit of petrol blue. It's just extra step. If you want, you can add. If you want, you can skip. It's just... next I'm adding white ink gel pen. I'm dividing those pleats. And adding just a little bit of mulberry on the top. Mint green. More glitter on the top of the pleats. And just dividing those pleats, showing the edges. And now I'm actually showing the edges of this folds. And now those black spots, they are inside of my folds, and they show the depth. And by drawing this like zigzag-ish broken lines around, I'm in some way right now forming those folds. Adding some glitter along the edges here and there. You can locate those shadows and these folds horizontally, for example. If you're drawing a belly tutu in this very contrasting material, you can do it. Like, you can use this technique in many different ways to show similar folds. So now on the sides you can see more squared edges because we're looking from the sides and they have similar height. And in the center we're looking at these folds from the top, so we're looking just inside. Here's also more the side view. Bit of dark egg. It's a bit similar to cool aqua, but a bit darker. And white pen again. And some mulberry here and there, using cool gray 2. And just a little bit of extra shadows below your top, and just along it. All right. I haven't recorded really like rendering of your shoes. I just started showing how I drew them because the design is different from the model that is in the middle. So you draw your shoes in exact the same way, but you just change the design of the fastening. And at the end of this video I included the final drawing of the shoes so you can finish it. So far we're done with this sketch, with this look. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial, and please share your suggestions, your questions. Tell me more about what you do and what type of designs you are interested in, because I can, you know, select more carefully textures for the next tutorials, so they are more useful for whatever you're doing. So this is the shoes, like the right side shoes, how they look in the end. I used some gray for the shadows and a golden pen touch pen for the golden elements. So guys, see you next tutorial.